In the frozen silence of early 1959, deep within the remote Ural Mountains, a tragedy unfolded that would puzzle investigators, historians, and conspiracy theorists for decades. What began as a daring winter expedition by a group of skilled young hikers soon transformed into one of the most chilling and unexplained mysteries of the 20th century. 9 experienced adventurers lost their lives under circumstances so strange and unsettling that, even today, no single explanation fully satisfies the evidence left behind. The group was led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, an ambitious and highly respected student from the Ural Polytechnic Institute. Known for his discipline and experience in mountaineering, Dyatlov carefully assembled a team capable of enduring the harshest conditions nature could offer. These weren't amateurs seeking thrill, they were seasoned hikers, each with proven endurance, technical knowledge, and a deep passion for the wilderness. Their mission was both challenging and prestigious. They aimed to achieve the highest level of Soviet hiking certification, Grade 3, a title reserved only for those who demonstrated exceptional survival skills, navigation expertise, and physical resilience in extreme conditions. To earn this honor, the group planned a demanding trek to Mount Otorten, a remote peak surrounded by unforgiving terrain and brutal winter weather. The journey began on January 23, 1959, when 10 hikers departed from Sverdlovsk with high spirits and confidence. The group included 8 men and 2 women, all united by friendship and a shared love for adventure. Among them were individuals known for their strength, determination, and optimism. Yuri Doroshenko was admired for his physical toughness, Lyudmila Dubinina for her fierce determination, and Zinaida Kolmogorova for her uplifting personality that kept morale high even in the toughest moments. However, just days into the expedition, one member, Yuri Yudin, fell ill. Suffering from joint pain and worsening health, he made the difficult decision to turn back. Though disappointed, this choice would ultimately save his life, as he became the only member of the original group to survive. The remaining 9 hikers pressed on, venturing deeper into the wilderness. They navigated dense forests, crossed frozen rivers, and climbed through increasingly harsh terrain. Despite the dropping temperatures and growing fatigue, the group maintained a positive spirit. They documented their journey through photos and diary entries, capturing moments of laughter, teamwork, and determination. But as they advanced further into the mountains, conditions began to deteriorate rapidly. Snowstorms intensified, winds grew stronger, and temperatures plunged to dangerous levels, often below -20 degrees Celsius. The environment became less forgiving with each passing day, forcing the group to adapt constantly. Their original route became difficult to maintain, and they were eventually pushed off course. On February 1, 1959, faced with worsening weather and poor visibility, the group made a critical decision. Instead of descending to a more sheltered area, they chose to set up camp on the exposed slope of Kholat Syakhl, a mountain ominously named Dead Mountain by the indigenous Mansi people. The choice remains one of the most debated aspects of the incident. Whether it was due to poor visibility, exhaustion, or a desire to stay on track, the decision would prove fatal. That night, the hikers settled into their tent as they had done many times before. They likely shared food, spoke about their progress, and prepared for the next stage of their journey. There was no indication that anything was wrong, no signs of panic, conflict, or fear. But sometime during the night, something happened. Something so sudden and terrifying that it drove all 9 of them to flee their tent into the freezing darkness. When search teams later discovered the campsite weeks afterward, the scene was deeply disturbing. The tent had been cut open from the inside, suggesting the hikers had escaped in a desperate rush. Their boots, coats, and essential gear were left behind. Some had fled wearing only thin clothing, others barefoot. For experienced mountaineers, this behavior made no sense unless they believed staying inside the tent posed an even greater danger. The hikers' disappearance went unnoticed at first. They were expected to send a message upon their return, but delays were not uncommon in such harsh conditions. However, as days passed with no communication, concern grew among their families. On February 20, search parties were organized. Volunteers, students, and eventually military personnel joined the effort. 6 days later, on February 26, rescuers found the abandoned campsite. What they uncovered marked the beginning of a mystery that would only deepen with each discovery. The first bodies were located near a large cedar tree, about 1.5 kilometers from the tent. Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonishenko were found nearly naked, lying beside the remnants of a small fire. The branches of the tree above them were broken, some as high as 15 feet, suggesting that one of them had climbed it possibly to look for the tent or spot danger. Both men had died from hypothermia. Between the tree and the tent, 3 more bodies were found: Igor Dyatlov, Zinaida Kolmogorova, and Rustem Slobodin. Their positions indicated they had attempted to return to the tent but never made it. Like the others, they had succumbed to the extreme cold. Weeks passed before the remaining 4 hikers were discovered. On May 4, their bodies were found in a ravine, buried beneath deep snow. Unlike the others, these individuals had sustained severe and mysterious injuries. Some had crushed ribs and fractured skulls, injuries so powerful they resembled those from a car accident. Yet there were no external wounds to explain such trauma. Lyudmila Dubinina's body was the most disturbing. She was missing her tongue, eyes, and parts of her face. While some experts suggested natural decomposition or scavenging animals, the condition of her body raised unsettling questions. Adding to the mystery, traces of radiation were found on some of the hikers' clothing. The source of this radiation was never clearly identified, leading to speculation about military involvement or secret testing in the area. Despite the unusual findings, the official investigation concluded with a vague statement: the hikers died due to a compelling natural force. The case was quickly closed, and many documents were classified, fueling suspicion and conspiracy theories for decades. Over the years, numerous explanations have been proposed. The avalanche theory remains one of the most widely accepted. It suggests that a sudden snowslide may have threatened the tent, forcing the hikers to escape quickly. However, critics argue that the slope was not steep enough, and no clear signs of an avalanche were found. Another theory involves strong katabatic winds, powerful gusts capable of creating terrifying noises and vibrations. These could have caused panic, leading the hikers to abandon their tent. There are also hypotheses involving infrasound, which can induce fear and disorientation. More controversial theories have long surrounded the incident, with some suggesting secret military experiments or undisclosed weapon tests conducted in the region. The discovery of radiation on certain pieces of clothing only fueled these suspicions, leading many to believe the hikers may have unknowingly entered a restricted zone. Others have gone even further, proposing encounters with unknown entities or rare natural phenomena that could have triggered panic and disorientation among the group. In recent years, the case has been revisited using modern technology and scientific analysis. Researchers have used computer simulations to recreate the conditions on the mountain, with some concluding that a small slab avalanche could explain why the hikers suddenly fled their tent. This theory has gained traction due to its scientific backing, but it still leaves several critical questions unanswered, particularly the extreme injuries sustained by some of the victims and the bizarre decisions they appeared to make in their final moments. The Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of the most haunting unsolved mysteries in modern history. It tells the story of ambition, bravery, and tragedy, as 9 skilled hikers ventured into the wilderness with confidence, only to encounter something they could neither predict nor survive. Decades later, their story continues to fascinate and disturb people around the world, not just because of the way they died, but because of the lingering uncertainty surrounding their final hours. The frozen slopes of Kolatsiakul still guard their secrets,